What up, though, One Pride? This is the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, a podcast where One Pride goes worldwide. My name is Antony Fitzpatrick. I'm joined this evening by Ryan McCluskey, which can only mean one thing. It is time for your weekly dose of college knowledge. Yes, it is the College Football Podcast Week 0 preview. And as advertised, Ryan, football is back. The long wait is over. Week 0 is here. It is a small slate, but it is a welcome slate. We will take any football we can get.
Yep, it's officially here. We've waited a long time for this, but yeah, we've got a small but a packed schedule lineup. Like I say, with some great games, international games, some interesting matchups. So there's a lot of storylines that are going to play out this week.
There is indeed, and this is the 1 week where every single fan base in the country holds out just even the tiniest hope that maybe, just maybe, it's going to be their year. Whereas this time next week, some will have already given up. So this is what makes week 0 so great. So we're going to take a look through at the fixtures today. Just have a little look at the teams, how they match up, and some thoughts of what we have on the games. And we're also going to go through the latest college football news as well, including a plethora of quarterback battles that have finally been settled, and there have been some surprises in there, so we're going to pass our judgment on those as well. And as always, if you guys have any questions or anything you want to ask us as we go, then please do. It's probably not going to be the longest show today because week 0 is a smaller slate, but we have some good stuff coming up for you. I'm just in the process at the moment of setting up a college football show with Zach McKinnell, our local FCS expert, knows everything FCS, so we're going to be able to do you a full FCS preview before the season begins in earnest in week 1. I'll probably do it next week at this point. But yeah, we'll be able to go through that and all the more to give you as much information as we can about the FCS ranks before the season starts, as well as all the FBS stuff we have done. We'll get through the housekeeping first. Roar of the Lions UK Discord, if you want in, let us know. We will fire you across the link for that. Don't forget to like and sub to everything. I really appreciate you all following us. The main pod, we did a breakdown on the Commanders game the other day, pre-season week 2, and our thoughts on the roster up till this point. Obviously, roster cut downs is on Sunday, so that is coming up shortly. We will be live on Sunday reacting to the news as it filters through as to what the Lions are going to do with their 53 this year. We're part of Lions Nation Unite as well, so don't forget to follow them. And we're monetized, we've got a tip jar, all that sort of stuff. If you want to help us that way, great. But first and foremost, we just love having you in the building to chat football with you, and we got the feedback form and all that stuff. So if you've got any comments on the shows, any feedback you want us to take on board, then just fill it in and we shall read through it. Right, let us get on with a bit of news to start with. And there's just one piece of news engulfing college football this week, right, in the run-up to the season, and that is the fiasco of the 2022 eligibility rule that we were talking a little bit about last week, where, you know, guys were starting to be able to claim back extra years of eligibility for missed years, JUCO years from 2022. Obviously, the rules have just changed, so you've got to do it all in 4 now. But initially, the thought was some players might be able to go back. We saw Daquan Wright, the Browns UDFA tight end, commit to LSU. We saw a couple of further commits to LSU as well. Xavier Harris, the former Ole Miss defensive tackle who came up to the NFL, had committed to go to the program as well. But there was a lot of blowback from this, from all conferences, quite frankly, and the response to this has been very swift. The Big Ten and the SEC have already voted to shut this down, to completely ban, and this is not just in football, this extends to basketball, baseball, anyone who's played single A, double A, triple A, whatever, played in the G League in basketball, anything like that. Anyone who's basically been on a professional team, has signed a contract with a professional team, or has been through the draft process, is not allowed to go back. It's been unanimously passed by the Big Ten and the SEC, who threaten sanctions against any team who violates this. What the sanctions are, we don't know. The ACC is expected to follow suit, and so is the Big 12. But this has just been one big cluster since the beginning. The whole farce around it, like, when guys have gone to the NFL, you shouldn't be messing with the eligibility in the first place. They did. Then guys started to declare. Guys started to want to go back to college. Now there's a middle ground where the NFL are not going to hire guys back if they've gone back to college. So some players are now without NFL teams, without college teams, are going to have to wait for a year. It's just crazy. But at the end of it all, I think the common sense is starting to prevail that the Power Four major conferences said, yeah, no, this isn't happening. We're going to go to the new system, and that's going to be that. And common sense prevailing.
Yeah, I'm with you. They should probably have thought about the rules and how they were going to backdate it to try affect a few current players that have just gone into draft classes and underclassmen as possible, and what would have thought about how many of them might have tried to turn tailcoat and then come back to earn a bit of NIL coin. It's definitely a mess. Like I say, none of it sounds totally legal. Like I say, that it all stand up in a court. Like I say, I'm pretty sure judges that have handed out these injunctions in like Texas and that, and they've said that XYZ number of players can now go back for a fifth year, would probably turn their nose up at a whole conference AD saying, actually, no, they're not welcome. We're going to block them completely, and they'll probably say that's probably unconstitutional or break some sort of rule. So, yeah, I think it's a huge mess. I think it's right now. It just seems there's a lot of players. There's a handful of players right now stuck between a rock and a hard place. I suppose Daquan Wright is the most high profile because, like I say, was technically like a DFA player. Did like have a Browns contract. I believe it was waived or released this week. Like I say, wanted to join LSU, follow Lane Kiffin, the former Ole Miss tight end, like I say, and like similar hours before he was ready to be announced or like make his return, the SEC kind of like, actually no, we'll do what the Big Ten are doing. We're not going to have you back if you signed an NFL contract, which I think he did, like I say. But then it seems a bit unfair because the Sun Belt Player of the Year, the linebacker that was at JMU, who only got invited to rookie mini camps but was never actually signed to a contract, who's now in the portal, has gone to UCLA.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's a grey area. Like I say, just because one signed a UDFA contract and one was openly given, I'm guessing, a trial but wasn't paid,
yeah,
he's been happily allowed to return as committed to the Bruins. So, yeah, they probably should have made a rule about that anybody that's suited up at an NFL practice wouldn't be welcome back this year to kind of stop this.
I know. I mean, and the crazy thing, it's like a 1 year thing. And this time next year, it won't matter.
This time next year, this won't be a problem.
No, everyone's...
They'll all know where they stand.
Yeah, they're all subject to the new rules now. But it was just handled so poorly. And you said some people were allowed to come back. What was funny is that LSU went around hoovering up all this talent. And they were doing it in basketball as well. And then this, the SEC rule came through. And it was voted 16-0 initially to vote against this, and you're like, so you've allowed your football and basketball coaches to poach players from the professional leagues, and then you voted against poaching players from the professional leagues. It sounds like someone's doing a quick backtrack there because of backlash, but then today when the actual vote came out, it was 15-0, and he abstained, so he kind of almost walked back on that. I don't know, LSU just seem to want to become the villain in CFB now. This isn't going to help their case, but I think it's funny that they got all these guys and they're like, yeah, no, this should be allowed to happen.
Oh, Lane Kiffin will be loving this. He does he loves to think of himself now as a villain, as like a Machiavellian character that is Marmite. I think he revels in it. I think he's absolutely probably thinking this is hilarious.
I want to see LSU play Notre Dame this year. That's got to be like the ultimate hate watch now, surely. Like everyone, like Notre Dame are trying their best to be absolutely hated. LSU are trying their best to be absolutely hated. That would be the hate watch of all hate watchers, especially if they got to the playoffs.
Yeah. Like I say, people are now, anyone that liked LSU before, I mean, everyone that wasn't an LSU fan probably hated LSU. Like I say, now they're just, everyone's gunning for them because a lot of people don't like Lane. They are kind of like the perfect match made in heaven. And if they do seriously deep playoff run, well, yeah, they will revel in rubbing the country up the wrong way. But yeah, I think right now what they need to do is sit down with a handful of players that are now stuck in this legal quagmire and thrash it out and say, okay, we'll make this allowance once,
Yeah.
play for LSU this year. Or let's say the NFL is now coming out saying like, actually, wait, no, the LFU, NFL, if you have a contract and you go back to college, you don't come back to us in the same season.
Yeah.
Some of you now can't return to the NFL as of right now, as of today,
Yeah.
and you might have only left a program or been waived on Monday
Yeah.
and you're ineligible to play this season and can't enter the draft again.
No. I kind of feel like that rule might get switched again, and this time next week he'll be allowed back to the Browns or something. Like, mind you, I guess roster cut downs is Sunday, so he might have been done for.
Or they'll let him play, but he'll be able to enter next year's draft. He would go for the draft cycle again.
Yeah,
but that would just be even worse.
Yeah, because he's not going to play. He's not going to play all year, and he's going to be a year older, which is just going to devalue his stock even further. Like, so it's
All this started with Brendan Salisbury.
Yeah, it was
cancelling that supplemental draft was the domino that set this off to not let him. The CFL wouldn't let him play. The UFL kind of said like, maybe they will, but NFL's like, nope, he's not a free agent. He's not a UDFA. He can't sign with anyone. We're not having a supplemental draft. We're not touching him. And like I say, and then it's just this boulder, this little snowball has just started its avalanche now, and like this is where we are.
Yeah, it is, and it's you don't want this right on the eve of the season. You want to be optimistic about the football, and
no, this leaves a very sour taste in the mouth in football in general.
It does, and we want to focus on the ball instead. So God knows what is going to happen, but it looks like it's going to be shut down entirely, and some players, as you say, are going to suffer for that.
Eligibility just shouldn't be that hard.
No, 4 years.
If I was the NCAA, I would say if you have one severe injury that costs you, let's say you play maximum 3.5, 4 games, terrible injury, you get an extra season.
Yeah.
That's the one extra season. And if you get an injury in that season, I'm sorry, buddy, you're done. But everyone gets one injury if they miss 3/4 of a year because of injury.
Yeah.
Get an extra season, and that's it. Like I say, it don't matter what the injury is. There's no red shirting. There's no protecting eligibility. None
Obviously.
of that. I would scrap red shirting. I don't care if you come out of high school too early and then you don't play and you're not ready. Like, that's your choice.
Well, that's the new rules, isn't it? There are no more red shirts anymore, so that's your 4
I give everyone one season that suffers a terrible injury.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Like you say, if you lose, because at the minute it's 4 games or less, you can have one, which is fine. But yeah, just do it once. You can't do it multiple times, because then you end up with like 30.
Yeah, you get 26-year-old rookies, and nobody we don't want that. And by the time they've got there, like say half of them have just kind of given up on playing football. They're probably on their 4th school by then.
Although saying that, they're all very young. Did you see that this week in JUCO, San Jose College? They have got
a 49-year-old Baptist priest.
They've got a 47-year-old Baptist priest who's suiting up for them last year. So they've got a 47-year-old pass rusher on the roster. I don't know how the hell they've done it. JUCO obviously has its own rules. It's not governed by the NCAA.
But it's a community college, isn't it? So anyone can go to a community college.
Yeah. So, yeah, San Diego College this year have a 47-year-old edge rusher, so maybe we'll keep an eye on him. I thought that was class. I just like, come again? I thought it said San Jose State. I'm like, how the hell have they got away with that? But, it is what it is. More likely to get killed by these young studs. So, yeah, we got 47-year-old in JUCO this year. Who knows? Right, let us move it on, and we'll talk a little bit now about quarterbacks. Obviously, sort of the Monday before the season starts, right, is kind of when most teams will settle their quarterback battle to give, most teams who aren't playing in week 0, 2 weeks to train up their new guys and to build the system around them to get them comfortable when a lot of quarterback battles have ended. And there have been a lot of announcements made for this upcoming season. There's a few I want to talk about, but the big one when it comes to big colleges, and I'm really happy about this because I picked him to win my Davey O'Brien Award when he wasn't even guaranteed to start. Keelan Russell has got the Alabama job for this season over the more seasoned Austin Mack. Obviously, the huge 5-star recruit they had last season. He's redshirted a year, pretty much at this point, and came into camp. They were ready for him, and I love him so much. He is like a version of oh God, who was the one they had last year? He's Jalen Milroe, but he can throw a football. He's as legitimate a dual threat superstar as you're gonna get, and they said he has just absolutely ruined camp with his ability to throw to all 3 levels of the field, but also run when he wants to as well. He is a devastating dual threat. I think this is a fantastic decision by DeBoer. I mean, you are on a little bit of a hot seat, and Mac is kind of one of those where he's just going to be like, he's going to be okay for you. I don't think he's ever going to be special. I think it's time to get the guy you drafted, that you trust, your high-star recruit, and give him the reins here. I'm really looking forward to seeing him at Alabama this year.
Yeah, like you say, Alabama have got a proud long tradition of throwing in young QBs to sink or swim, these high-profile recruits, and more often than not, a lot of them swim and they turn into stars. Like say, a dual threat kid, like say, with a good arm as well. Like say, that offense needs a spark. I think he'll hope be the one to deliver it. And yeah, college football is good when the Crimson Tide are trying to win national titles. And in recent years, they've been good, but not great. Like say, that transition, like say, with the new coaching staff, like say, the players, it's not been as smooth as they'd like. But Keelan Russell brings hope that, like say, the Crimson Tide are hopefully about to get back to rolling.
Yeah, and he's got the year of the red shirt, so he's acclimatized to college ball now. Obviously, he's not played as much, but it's not like they're throwing him in raw. He's ready, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play. I think, yeah, he's going to win the Davy O'Brien this year. He's going to surprise a lot of people early doors, but just remains to be seen how the rest of the team do around him. But it was a great decision for them. Other noticeable ones here, and we're going to talk about the FCS quarterbacks first, because there is an FCS revolution this year, and we have a brand new clutch of guys who've come up from the FCS Rye who are going to be starting. Obviously, we're going to get to see one of them this weekend, the very first game going. Jaden Craig has got the starting job at TCU. That one's been known about for a little while, I think, but we're still going to get to see him regardless. Absolute super stud for Harvard last year. Braden Atkinson, the true freshman from Mercer, has got the Oregon State job. Again, another who just had an absolutely fantastic season, did well in the playoffs, and is expected to do big things with that Oregon State in this Pac-12, which we just don't really know what's going to happen with it this year. So we got Carson Conklin, who's going to be starting for Sacramento State. Now, they've made the move up, so he's moved the team, but he was also a true freshman last year, and he threw for like 3,000 yards and 30 touchdowns as a true freshman for Sac State last year. So the MAC is going to put itself on notice. And then we've got another down at Wyoming. So we've got the former William and Mary quarterback Tyler Hughes. He threw for about 2,500 yards, 20 touchdowns last year, just through 3 picks. And we've seen a lot of these FCS guys come up through the ranks in recent years and really make their mark early, but there's some very exciting guys this year. A lot who are just true sophomores, ready to make big impacts on their team. And they say William and Mary, Mercer, teams like that, they've been good teams, high-powered offenses. You're looking forward to seeing some of these guys sling the dart around at the FBS level.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to some of them. Like I say, some of them led some very high-powered offenses, like the Mercer Bears. Like I say, that QB getting a start, like say, from a program that is probably one of the smaller programs we've named. Like I said, it was a predominantly a defense-led first school in the FCS. That is very exciting, and to beat out Malik Murphy, like I say, that's impressive. Like I say, he's been incredibly productive, if not win heavy total QB. Like I say, the Beavers were expected. Like I say, it was reported like as early as a week ago, it was his job to lose. but he's firmly had the rug pulled on from him, like I say, by this young upstart kid. But I like that. New conference, a team that's going somewhere. Does it make sense to trot out the veteran? Like say that you probably know what you're going to get. Old dogs don't always learn new tricks. I'm kind of in the market for a new upstart kid, and that really excites me that they're giving him the job. When you've got a trusty veteran also to kind of come behind him as well, like say, it makes a chance. Just makes sense to like give him a chance. Like say, he's got very little to lose.
No, absolutely, and like you say, he's good build, 6'1", I believe he is. Got a live arm to him, like that Oregon State team. I think they've done right. It's a program that needs a spark, isn't it? They've just lacked a spark in recent years, and this could be the one that does it. Obviously, William and Mary, interesting. Tyler Hughes coming. Wyoming have been down on their luck in recent years, but the Tribe still do push out good players. And Wyoming, if anything, they will give a good offensive line to protect him as well. So, potentially he can make a power play in the Mountain West there.
Yeah, that's a good step for them. Like you say, Wyoming, they need a spark, don't they? They've been treading water in recent years. They needed to take a bit of a gamble. I've enjoyed, like I said, the Tribe where they've kind of challenged the playoffs in recent years. The Tribe, they've been there. They've had some good players. Like I say, to send an upstarter up to them, like I say, the Cowboys, to roll the dice on a kid that a lot of people simply won't know, even if the FCS transfers, you might as well go for it. Yeah, like I say, good run game, a solid, like I say, offensive line structure. It's a big chance for him to show off his tools in a conference that anybody can win on any given year. So for a young QB to enter the MAC makes a lot of sense because it's probably a pretty good stepping stone.
And he's reunited with the offensive coordinator who recruited him to William and Mary. So
they're an extension of each other.
So you've got schematic fit as well. So Wyoming potentially a team just to have a little look at this year with their QB situation.
The one I'm looking forward to the most is Caden Pinnock.
I forgot Caden Pinnock. Yeah, my bad. He's Washington State.
A redshirt sophomore, had 32 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns, 3,000 passing yards. And he now joins a Cougars team that week 1 has got Washington and Damon Williams. That might be the best QB matchup of the early regular season. That is exciting.
It is, isn't it? Like you say, it's...
Like I say, the Cougars joining a new Pac-12. Like you say, I like their chances. They've gone with a guy that was super impressive, leading UC Davis Aggies into the playoffs. A true, proper dual threat rushing quarterback. Like he's only like 6'1", 200 pounds. He ain't big, but very impressive, and he's definitely earned a shot in there. And we've seen plenty of Cougars QBs make big plays. And yeah, you've got to go back to like Gardner Minshew. They have a nice pro-style offense that can deliver with good running quarterbacks. So yeah, if we see them exciting, like I say, Cougs football is good. Like I say, and they can bring an offensive side of football. So yeah, he has got a big chance to make a name for himself in a new relook Pac-12.
Obviously, Cam Ward just a couple of years ago passed on his way through there up to Miami. So
Washington State have had a lot of big profile QBs pass through the doors.
This feels like the best the clutch of FCS quarterback transfers in some time, specifically because of how young they are. So Carson Conklin, true freshman; Braden Atkinson, true freshman; Caden Pinnock, true freshman, I believe, as well. Carson Conklin, true freshman. Obviously, he's come up with his team.
3 years' time, like say that you're going to have maybe the best FCS crop of NFL QBs we might have had in the last decade or two.
Yeah, who started off at FCS programs, worked their way through. Like all these guys could legitimately spend 1 year at their program and move on up again if they get the stats this year. But it's going to be so exciting to see some of these.
Veteran, like say, is Jaden Craig. Like I said, this year.
Oh, Jaden Craig, yeah.
He's eligible for next year's draft.
Yeah.
Like I said, and coming to a gunslinging past half the offense like TCU is probably the one way he's going to get his name recognised nationally quicker than anyone, because we've just seen Max Duggan and Josh Hoover do it. So it makes a lot of sense for him. And like I said, he put Harvard football on the map because obviously they added the playoffs to the Ivy League. Like saying Harvard were one of the teams that made it last year in its inaugural season. So like I say, he's leaving behind a Harvard team that will be reeling to lose him. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Jaden Craig can do, see if he's an actual pro prospect or not.
And he's got the biggest stage of them all this weekend. He's going to be playing in the Ireland game. There's
Got
going to
like
be a
say the biggest
lot.
national game he's ever played in.
There's a lot of eyes going to be on him and that TCU program this weekend. So it's big, but yeah, it's so exciting to see some of these guys who are coming up from the FCS level this year. As you say, it's one of the most talented crops, and because it's just so young and so good, it is going to be great. But it's not just FCS transfers who've been making the rounds this year. There's some very intriguing numbers elsewhere, and maybe one that we certainly expected, I think, but the one that really excites me in terms of just how much he could throw. Brian Hartline and USF have got Michael Van Buren under centre in the American, and there's just part of me that's thinking he's absolutely gonna lay waste to that conference, because he was a good SEC quarterback, and I'm shocked he dropped down there. But it just feels like this is the kind of year where you're gonna have that QB in the group of 6 who's just going to put up some insanely stupid numbers. It feels like it's going to be Michael Van Buren.
Yeah. Like I say, you've got an offensive head coach. You bring in, like you say, an SEC dual threat quarterback with a lot to prove and a bit of a chip on his shoulder. He's got a young receiver weapon. Like I said, they've retained some staff, have hit the portal. Like I say, they want to keep the momentum that Goulash built. They don't want to regress just because they've had like the rug pulled from underneath them and they think they've had a bit of a clear out. I think this is really exciting. Like you say, it was a big battle of, like you say, him and Luke Kromenek, but I just feel like the ceiling of the team is better if Van Buren plays to the top of his level than Luke does, because I think he can stretch the field better and has got that escapability. When I never thought that with Luke, who would have been probably more of a solid pocket passer. I think Van Buren will give a bit more danger in both facets of the game. It's going to be very fun to see how they get along with Brian Hartline.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just the way the way he works with his receivers and that. Like Van Buren's just going to have so much talent to work with at receiver. I think it's going to be impossible for him. Not injuries probably the only thing that are going to hold him back. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing him this year. In terms of other guys who've been put in, a nice one because of how much he's been through with injury. But Max Johnson, this is going to be his last year in college. He's another one who's been around forever, but he's got the Georgia Southern starting job, and it's like a career of what could have been. He's a very talented kid. He's got a very live arm, and again, he's going down to the group of 6, so this could be... He's with Clay Helton, who loves to wear the ball out and runs that pro-style offense there. It could be a last good hurrah for him, given everything he's been through. 6 surgeries on his leg after that last injury was just brutal. But it is great to see him get the job this year.
Yeah, like you say, for him personally, I mean, his dream of playing NFL is long gone, but this is more personal for him. Like you say, just wants one season where he can stay healthy, hopefully get 12 games under his belt, play some good football, and then get out of college, ride out, like you say, into the sunset, like you say, go into his professional life knowing that he gave it his all. Because, like you say, he has very much struggled and been hampered his whole career. And we've seen flashes, but he's just been robbed of all the potential at this point.
Yeah, he has. It's really bad to see, but as I say, at least hopefully he's going to get his opportunity to play this year. Some other intriguing news. We knew this one was kind of going to happen, but it's been made official, and this is an interesting group of 5 to power transfer. I know you're all on the Walker Eget train at Duke. He has been officially announced as the starter there. Obviously big shoes to fill, but this is a kid who's had some great years at San Jose State. He's got 5,500 career passing yards, 30 passing touchdowns. He is a 6th season guy, so he is older, but one potential last opportunity to put himself in the window, maybe for the NFL in some regard there at Duke. But it's going to be intriguing to see how he does. He's got one chance to impress.
Yeah, like you say, had a good career at San Jose State. I was having a decent year last year until, fortunately, like you say, he had a severe injury that kind of hurt the San Jose Spartans last year. But did make 18 starts over his career, so he has got a good, solid 2 seasons under his belt. Like I say, San Jose State Spartans did have their leading receiver in the nation last year, so he is able to get that repertoire going with a leading guy. So there's no reason that this offense can't have a spark. He's big, he's strong, he's got a big arm. he's just probably filling the biggest shoes left behind in college football right now in Darian Mensah. So, and like I say, obviously had a conference to defend, so he probably could have joined him at the best time and the worst time, where the pressure on him right now will be immense. But I like Manny Diaz. Like I said, I think he's a good guy, and I think, like I say, it makes sense to go with a veteran. I know they have a three-star freshman they beat out. It just don't feel like the right time to throw in a freshman. Not like say when you want to defend the ACC. Like I say, those veterans where you want to go out, you want, like I say, make a potential run to at least get back to the championship. So going with a seasoned old head makes more sense right now.
Exactly. And
Round the
speaking,
freshman in, and then 2027 you go again with your redshirt sophomore QB.
and speaking of Darian Mensah, did you see the NIL contract that Miami had to pay to get him there? Over $6 million.
Over reported $1.5 million next, up higher than anybody else.
Yeah, like Duke paid him $5 million, which was huge at the time, but Miami have had to fork out, and they're going to get him for 1 year. So they're paying him $6 million for this year. That's more than a lot of NFL quarterbacks are going to be earning this season.
You only return that if you win a national title.
Which
That's
is
the
crazy.
only way
Yeah.
you get that dividends back.
Yeah.
In you.
Yeah, absolutely, which is crazy. Speaking of teams that are not going with their freshmen and going with the more seasoned heads, on paper, this may seem like a disaster because they might not have him for 2 years, given how big a recruit he is. But I think they've done the right thing here. Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it. Vanderbilt not going with Jared Curtis, the big 5-star they stole from Georgia. Instead, going with Blake Berlowitz, who's been the guy there for a little bit of time now. And I actually back this decision because you don't know how good Vandy are going to be this year in the post-Diego Pavia era. And if you throw Jared Curtis out there week one and they're gash and he starts getting beaten up all over the place, that's not going to be good for him. It feels better putting the veteran out there until things are stable post-Diego Pavia. So I'm all about this. And obviously it's a chance for Berlowitz. He's all right. I don't think he's the greatest in the world, but I do think Vanderbilt have made a sensible decision here.
Yeah, and it sounds like if you read articles like Yahoo Sports, it sounds like Jared Curtis was fully aware he was not going to start this year. It was kind of like maybe an agreement when he classified, like I say, that we've got a guy, like I say, the report is that he will play against Austin Peay the second half, but barring injury, that was the only football he plays this year. That's what the plan is. Like I say, Berlovitz played last year in relief of Pavia, played a game, 150 yards, like 2 touchdowns, knows the offense. Like I say, if a team is going to be worse and you put a QB at risk, then with no disrespect to Blaze, but yeah, he's going to be the guy that will take the brunt of it. You do kind of want to wrap this new flashy toy in cotton wool. Like I say, just because he's not playing, everyone's like, oh, he'll transfer at the end of the year. I mean, there's no sign of that yet. If he does, then he was never committed to the Commodores at all, really, was he?
No.
That would say more about him.
Yeah. I think you've just got to be sensible with it, especially at a program. It's not like Ohio State where you can give him an NFL offensive line, NFL receivers, right off the bat. Like, you can put true freshmen into situations there where you just give them everything and they'll live with it. It's going to be tough for Vandy this year. It's always going to be tough for Vandy. They'll do well, but Pavia was a lot of what that team was about, and obviously no Eli Stowers this year, lost some of the big playmakers, so you've got to see what you've got first, and I fully back them not
Tennessee
going in that
their true star freshman quarterback because they're starting phase on Brandon.
Yeah, it's just about...
Or will he end up getting slaughtered?
Yeah, so
what's the O-line like you say? It's not been great football recently in Tennessee, has it?
No, so he beat out George McIntyre. I mean, the thing is, Tennessee played complete scrub non-cons. I think they're playing Furman in week one. So I think the thinking is he's going to play...
He's going to put video game numbers week one.
He's going to put up he's going to play 3 weeks of playing against scrubs while the O-line gets its confidence and he gets his confidence, and then he's going to go into play and, do it from there. But they said he's the first true freshman to start week one for Tennessee in some time. I think it's about 20 years, something like that. I can't remember who said it now. We did have it somewhere. But
the only second one in history, apparently. The second freshman in Tennessee history to start week one.
Because I thought Ayama Lievu had, but he
2004. Brent Schaefer in 2004 was the last
Yeah.
and the only other true freshman QB at start.
Yeah, Iamaleava was a redshirt freshman when he started. I think it was the last year of Joe Milton. But I got a bit mixed up there. But yeah, he's obviously there's all the hype around it. You may as well if you're Tennessee, right? Hoople's not under any sort of pressure there whatsoever.
And they
They're
have
just
brought back
gonna,
their best receivers, so at least the kid's got weapons.
yeah.
Vanderbilt, like you say, we don't know if there's any weapons.
And I don't think George McIntyre was the biggest level of competition for him either.
No, it was pretty much. I think he knew full well coming here.
I think there was that what I remember he appeared in one game last year and he threw the worst pick you've ever seen. Literally the first pass they asked of him, and it was one of the worst throws you've ever seen. And you're like, oh okay, yeah, this that kid's not very good. And I think he threw a second pick like almost immediately on the next drive. It was not pretty at all. But yeah, going with the true freshman there at the power level. There's not many of those this year from what I can think of. Other programs who have announced their starters: Arkansas going with K.J. Jackson. Rutgers going with Dylan Lonergan from Boston College, which is a decision and a half, certainly. And Aiden Childs has a new home at Northwestern, Rye. I mean, it seems so long ago that we had this true freshman Aiden Childs at Oregon State who was going to change the world, and how times change. The transfer to Michigan State completely failed, and now at Northwestern, which, you know, not known for its quarterbacks making it to the next level.
No, but I oddly think he's probably going to turn it around. I don't know. I just think Northwestern. I think they're steering the ship out there. They had some rocky time, like I said. That I hope Childs can actually turn it around. I think this is probably a good landing spot for him. I mean, there's very minimal pressure on Northwestern.
No, exactly.
Yeah. And the roster's fairly sound. So there are some pieces there. So I think he could probably put a decent season under his belt there. Like I say, once we saw that, like I say, Michigan State losing his weapons, it always felt like he was always going to depart that point when he saw the exodus of talent.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously he's got Chip Kelly there as well. So Chip Kelly's been around. You know, he's got a lot of play calling ability. I think he's played for him at some point in the past as well. So he obviously knows his OC, which always helps. Other ones, Aaron Philo has got the starting job at Florida, the Georgia Tech transfer. Obviously, their new OC is from Georgia Tech, so they're going to probably try and run the ball a bit more. Aaron Philo's a bit more of a rushing QB. Zion Chris has got the Tulane job, the fifth-year senior. I think I remember him more from his Louisiana days. And he did spend some time at Houston as well. Ball State got the big 5'11", 250-pound quarterback Keldrick Luster. I mean, that's a build and off for a quarterback. Like, good job defending him if he decides he wants to scramble at 250 pounds, right?
Yeah, he's built like a bowling ball. He is physically hard to bring down. I mean, yeah, he ain't the most physically gifted. He ain't the best passer, but I'm sure he's going to have some funny highlight moments this year. Especially running, he's probably going to truck some defenders.
Oh yeah, definitely gonna get a few. Who else is one? I think there were a couple more in there. Obviously,
I think he transfer is Gio Lopez to Wake Forest.
Oh yeah, from UNC.
He wasn't terrible for UNC.
No, he was just behind a god awful offensive line.
He's an awkward lefty, and the offensive line is one of the worst I've ever seen. He still had a 2-to-1 touchdown ratio, like say, 65% completion. I think Lopez could have a decent year in Wake Forest, and they've not had a good quarterback in what feels like forever.
Well, Sam Hartman, I guess, since
That's
Hartman left
a
for
long
Notre
time
Dame.
ago. He's been in the NFL a long time now.
See, that's making me feel old and us old, because Sam Hartman was in college when we started this pod, and it still feels
How many? It
recent.
feels like he's been in the NFL like 3 or 4 years almost. Like it feels like forever.
It feels he's been way more recent than that. So, oh god, yeah, absolutely crazy there for him. But I like to think that he's got the potential there. Other news, quarterback news. Now, this isn't a starter. This is potentially a transfer, a late one. Obviously, Texas Tech, they're searching for a starter, and they're reportedly in the transfer portal for Thomas Castellanos. Certainly, I mean, good lord, you feel all these high-star recruits to get there, and they can't seem to get a decent quarterback. But obviously, they're not certain about Will Hammond, and they're trying to bring Castellanos in. Obviously, a rusher more than a thrower. I just feel like you could do better than that, but they're big after him. Apparently, they're close to getting him.
Yeah, it feels like they've left it so late in the day, and the portal is barren, and it's just a sheer fluke that Castellanos got the injunction, 2 weeks ago, granted the extra eligibility after fighting for it. I mean, yeah, we saw the good, the bad, the ugly at FSU. I mean, I've seen one game of Will Hammond. I mean, I wasn't enamoured, but like I say, Arizona State did a great job of beating Texas Tech. They weren't terrible. But can you win the Big 12 with Will Hammond? Absolutely not.
No.
I simply don't think you can. Do you win the Big 12 with... No, Castellanos don't move the needle for me all that much, if I'm honest.
No, just completely flunked it at Florida State, and
I'd probably just go with Hammond for this year and then go get a good QB in 2027.
Yeah, no, I think that's what you got to do.
You're paying Castellanos, he'll want decent money.
Yeah, well, obviously he's got experience, so that's sort of what they're going with there. But outside of that, yeah, I think it's going to be not great. I think that is about it. There are a few more, but I think they're all the major ones. Are there any other quarterbacks you wanted to mention securing their jobs there? Just trying to think. I don't think.
Not many have shocked me.
No. Like I say, a lot of these were expected, but obviously teams keep it under wraps because obviously they want to keep strong training camps. They want to keep everybody interested to give the biggest battle possible there. I think Ohio have named Nick Poulos their starting QB. He was a JUCO quarterback, but he was with Ohio last year. But obviously, big shoes for him to fill at Ohio. Because
Arizona State, they haven't named Cutter yet, and they've narrowed it down to two guys, and it could be Mikey Keene.
Oh, they got Mikey Keene.
Yeah, he came in late, as I say. Apparently, it's between Cutter and Mikey Keene to start for ASU this year.
That's late, but I guess they've not had to do
it.
Your
four QBs narrowed it down to two. I mean, for going from Sam Levitt to Cutter and Mikey Keene, I mean, oof.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a tough one there. It's a tough one, and obviously no one's separating themselves yet. You got to feel like it's. I mean, Cutter Bowler's younger.
Job to lose, but the fact is, like you say,
But Mikey Keene's he can sling the dart, man. Like we saw him at Fresno
State. He did ball out, yeah.
Yeah. Rudy the Boxer in the chat goes, Tennessee is Iowa with one national championship from the 90s. Yeah, they've not been good in recent years. They just need to reset the whole thing there and hope this time, because you thought they were going to have a good solid 4 years where they are Milievu, and then that happened. He got greedy and it went down the drain. Old Dominion, new starting quarterback Quinn Heinekel did some work for them yesterday. Another dual threat quarterback, Ricky Rahn and co. They make good quarterbacks there, so keep an eye out for him. He's a redshirt sophomore, so he's quite young as well. But he's 2-0 in his career with the Old Dominion. Had 2 games last year. Keel Bowl win over USF, and he got a win over Arkansas State under his belt as well. Think that is everything. Oh, Ricky Collins got the job at Kennesaw State. Nice for him, right? That's a good sign. I think, despite the fact that he has been what he's been, I think for a CUSA level team, he should do pretty well down there.
Yeah, like you say, he has some serious pedigree, like you say, and he's got some playing time. So I think that's a hopefully a big time addition for them. Like you say, maybe he finds his level. Like you say, Syracuse, it wasn't great, but it was his first taste of real football. At least it gave him an open the door for him to something to build on this year.
Yeah, it will indeed. And actually, should mention, JJ Cole got the starting job at FIU, which we all knew was going to happen. That's going to be great for him. UNC, obviously we talked about TCU's new quarterback, Jaden Craig's coming into this one. UNC have a new quarterback this year as well, Billy Edwards Jr. Played for Maryland. He was Wisconsin's starter last year, but he had a non-contact injury in the opening game that put him out for the season. The Ginger Ninja, as we say, with that weird little spotty mustache, but it just does not bode well for Bill this year, does it? I wasn't impressed with him when he was at Maryland, and didn't get his chance last year, and Bill needs him this year.
Yeah, like you say, the turnover rate at Maryland, I believe, was pretty high. Maryland football has been in a dark, dark place for a long time now. And this guy was not good stuff. Their offensive, their coaching staff weren't great. Billy really struggled. Like you say, he only had, like I say, 1 year where he got 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, but I'm sure there were a couple of fumbles there as well. So it was a pretty difficult time for him moving forward. And yeah, Wisconsin. We never got to see him at Wisconsin, but to be honest, with no disrespect to Luke Fickle, it probably wouldn't have been any better. The roster was probably just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah. It's
If this is the Bill, if this is the hill that Bill is going to die on, then oh boy. I mean, Bill Belichick enters the seat this season on not a hot seat, but the seat is on it's on a slight simmer. It's warming up. A bad start, and Bill will be very quickly out the door.
You could say the Chapel Hill he's going to die on in terms of I'm making ash jokes there. But
This will be back Bill Belichick's last season in Chapel Hill. No matter what happens, you have to get rid of him. He is not the future of the program.
You're on a nationally televised international game to start the season. That's big. Like, you lose this one, and any goodwill you could gain from it.
See another Irish blowout like we have in recent years. He's in trouble.
And they played last year. No, didn't TCU absolutely annihilate them last year?
I'm pretty sure they did, yeah. I'm pretty sure they met last year.
48-14, including 2 defensive touchdowns.
That's the kind of score, honestly, I'm expecting again.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, good Lord. But obviously Josh Hoover there, that was the Jordan Dwyer game as well. He was just completely unguardable, just wrecked. And he's back, obviously, this year for TCU. And that kind of makes a nice segue into our Week 0 previews, because as we've mentioned a few times in this one now, the very first game this season in terms of the power conferences anyhow is going to be the Ireland game. It's at 5 p.m. our time on Saturday. That is obviously midday over in the States. TCU at UNC. UNC are at this point 7.5 point underdogs. TCU favoured by just a smidge over a touchdown. Obviously, taking in the international factor into account can change a lot. This isn't like it's at TCU's home ground, but we saw kind of last year the standard indifference between these two teams. But TCU this year, a lot has changed. Jaden Craig, the new quarterback, is coming in, and obviously coming up from the Ivy League. So coming from the Ivy League to a nationally televised international college game, as you've mentioned, is a big deal for him. New offensive coordinator at TCU. You all know I love him. Gordon Samis, the former O-line coach at UConn, also did some OC work there for them. He's just created so much NFL talent on that line. Like, that TCU offensive line should be good this year under his coaching stewardship. Obviously, moving up into a full-time OC role for the first time, but I like the pairing there with them. And TCU bringing back a lot of those great dynamic playmakers. They've got Jordan Dwyer is back, Ed Small is back. You've got the running back Jeremy Payne in there as well. UNC, obviously all new for them. Billy Edwards Jr. going to be starting under centre there. But Bill, under a ton of pressure. There's been a load of scandal, a load of going-ons at this team. It's just very unsettled right now, and probably not the matchup they want. They'd probably want to be playing NC-A&T or something like that to start the season, right? But a very tough ask for Bill to start the year. But, if they're going to catch TCU, you catch him now. New OC, new quarterback. Put some pressure on him early. You've got one of the best pass rushers in college football in Jaude. I think it's Jaude, the UNC edge, who had a tremendous year last year. But it's only an 8-point switch. You think they're going to win by about 30, so no hope for UNC in this one?
I just can't see it. I just, like I say, TCU, yeah, they've lost big players like guys like Bud Clark, but like I said, they're returning weapons. They're bringing a quarterback that's ton of confidence. I mean, Billy Edwards doesn't come into the program with much confidence, coming off a bad injury that's had surgery, shaky form, whereas Jaden Craig comes in riding high. Like you say, he's enjoying football. It's a big step up for him. I know as a new LC, but I'd hate to think you at TCU will go away from what's made them famous in recent years of that area out, explosive, big play offense. They're going to keep some aspects of that. Always a good coaching staff. I see UNC. Yeah, they got some displays like Jordan Shipp. He had a decent year last year. He's a good receiver. He was kind of their go-to guy there. They bring him back at least this year. So there are some pieces to rely on. It just feels like a team to me that is. I don't see, like I say, all the huge amount of talent on offense. There's good players, but I just don't see that if it did get into a shootout, how they would be able to keep pace. But you are right. The one thing that is the great equaliser is travel, preparation, the weather. We predicted really bad weather in the UK this weekend, especially on Saturday. We've got storms, haven't we? We've got thunder. Like I say, this feels to me like a game that could be an absolute washout. And if anything, that only helps UNC. So if we get bad weather, like say even at 5 p.m, like I say, I think that is going to be a very interesting facet to take place in this game.
And no Jacob Fields for TCU either, dismissed from the program for supposedly it sounds pretty nasty what he did. Just absolutely leathered one of his teammates.
Locker room assault and an arrest. That was days before they didn't name the player, but it was a report of him attending the gym at the football team's program and arrest for a serious assault on one of the student players, athletes there. And in a couple of days, he's dismissed from the team. So 2 and 2 usually makes 4. And he was one of their big time additions. I think they got out of the portal. He was one of the best players in the country at the G5 last year. So to get him having dismissed his bad, so yeah, it's not a great start to the year, not discipline wise anyway.
No, absolutely. You don't want anything like that. Obviously, Steve Belichick's been on medical leave for UNC. Obviously, no, AD is on is on suspension right now. This is both teams out, and then all this. You got Bobby Petrino as OC at UNC now as well, but he's done well at Arkansas the last couple of years. The big bad motorbike rider. I think this is just going to be a very intriguing game altogether. But I'm with you. I think TCU are probably gonna. They're the most settled of the two teams. I would expect them to win here. Maybe not by as much as you're suggesting, maybe 30. But I think a 2 or 3 score win here. Like you say, the weather is going to be big. It's who can run the ball better here. Obviously, they've got UNC got Demon June, who looked really good last year. I think he had like 500 yards there. So if they can run the ball well and protect well, who knows? They may just cause an upset. But yeah, TCU looking like they're going to be the guys there. Other games that day, you've got USC starting out their season against San Jose State. And this feels like the one. Well, I keep saying it feels like the one, but Lincoln Riley is on a hot seat this year, I think. It's got to be said. A lot of people won't say he is, but it feels like he is. Given the amount of money they spend on that roster, given the amount of talent he has available to him, the fact that he's never won anything in terms of championships and that, or even won a conference, is quite damning. And with a lot of the other teams in flux this year in the Big Ten, you got Jordan Maeva under center at quarterback, one of the best QBs in the country. You got King Miller. You got a great running back there. You've got great receiving threats, even with Mekhi Lemon gone. You know, your defense is slowly getting better. He needs consistent play from both sides of the ball. He's just never had it at either team he's been at, but don't fancy much of an upset there from San Jose State. They did have, I think it was 3 touchdowns put on them last year by the Spartans, because I think they're doing a home and away series, so they gave them trouble this year, but obviously no Walker Eget this time for them. But USC need to start as they mean to go on here. It's a big year for them.
Yeah, and I mean, for Matt Bowman and Luke Wayfield, the 5-star freshman, it's probably the best game you could get to ease them in. Like I say, I feel like a game where you're just going to throw them to a freshman out there and see what they can do against an opponent. Yeah, that last year hurt you, put some scores on you this year, but you expect to beat. It's just going to be the quality of the performance. Do you go out there and open a can of whoop ass like you should? Or do you look rusty, you're showing your opponent too much respect, and you kind of just meander away to a victory? That's not what they need right now. Like I say, they need to go out there and lay some smack down. Like I say, and they're big players, like I say, Jamie Ava, he needs to come out of the block straight away, smooth, like I say, on the right reads, make sure those connections are crisp. So you'd expect it to be a one-sided game, but especially at home as well in the Coliseum, where, like I say, it should be nice and cool. The crowd is going to be very raucous. Like I say, it's an SU team that's lost its QB, weapons there that's kind of finding a new guy in the centre. So everything is stacked against the Spartans. So the only thing that can beat the Trojans is the Trojans themselves.
Like I said, and this was an attack that it's always been good, but people forget how good it was last year. It was the best offense in the Big Ten. It had nearly 470 yards per game. It was nearly 20 more than Oregon. Maeva averaged the most passing yards per game. He averaged nearly 290 yards per game. Mendoza only managed 220. Sayem was less than 260. Moore was less than 240. You've got 4 starters back on the offensive line. You've got, as I say, you've got your targets back. You obviously got Terrell Anderson, and they pinch in from NC State as always. They got Bishop Fitzgerald last year at safety. They got Terrell Anderson at receiver. It's just going to be a really good offense again, isn't it? Like this could go 60, 70 yards, but there's never been any problem with that offense. Even losing Mackay Lemon and Jacoby Lane, they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, there's no reason to think they'll skip a beat. Like I say, brought up players that were biding their time on the depth chart, gone out, got some new blood to bed in straight away. Good play calling, like I say, home advantage. Like I say, they should be perfectly fine in offense. They should gel pretty quickly, I'd like to think.
Yeah, and obviously defensive-wise, they've got a new DC. Gary Patterson, the old TCU head coach. Remember him from a few years ago. They were 50th nationally last year in defense, which if you want to make playoffs and that, you've got to be a little bit better than that. But obviously, they've worked through the portal. They brought in some good players.
Got a lot of talent to work with. They probably never had a TCU.
No, I mean, you've got Cameron Crawford, you've got Braylon Shelby, you've got in Zariah Fisher, who came from Penn State. Like, you've got a plethora of pass rushers there. But you need better defensive tackles. That's kind of, they've just struggled with defensive tackles, been run on, etc. So that's where they need to get good at. But it feels like everything is in place for them this year. But as I say, 50th, you're not gonna get very far in the playoffs with a defense that ranks 50th or just outside, are you?
No, not like I say. Your offense will have to do a lot of heavy lifting with just a top 50 defense. You'll be constantly behind the chains and be digging yourselves out of holes potentially if you've got a pedestrian defense.
Yeah, absolutely. On San Jose State's side, they are going through a hell of a rebuild this year. So obviously that's Ken Neoma Tololo, the former Navy head coach. They've done really well. You've got 3 straight 7-win seasons. They've been at bowl games. They've been winning. But then last year, they really weren't good. And he's lost pretty much everybody from his team last year. You've got a new starting quarterback. So Luke Weaver, the guy who's been sat behind Mika Aliado at Hawaii, did really well in relief for him last year. Played some good football. Obviously knows the conference pretty good. But he's taken on this 3-9 team that has just lost about everybody. They've lost 9 starters, I believe it is, on offense, and they've lost about 10 on defense. You lose your star receivers. Nick Nash gone, Danny Scudero gone. You've got to find the next guy in that team, but it doesn't help when you've got a young QB here. A ton of turnover, and it's probably going to be a little bit of a rough one for them here, right?
Yeah, it's a bit of a recipe for disaster. The young QB this year is going to be put in a lot of difficult situations where O-line in flux, guys that don't know each other well, and then weapons that you don't have a repertoire with, like say the big names have gone, moved on, departed, and eventually the conveyor belt stops where you kind of just have a couple of years where you just can't produce that big household name receiver. And you take to think that's this year with a young guy coming in. So I think it's safe to say expectations on the offense and the team as a whole definitely temper them.
Yeah.
It's gonna be one of those years where you just have to roll with the punches and just take what's thrown at you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously you've lost all your corners as well. Chris Johnson gone. You've lost so much talent to this team. And Scudero's gone to Colorado, so going to be interesting to see how well he does there this year. But Luke Weaver, keep an eye on him. He is a very good young talented quarterback, but I think he's probably going to be fed to the wolves a little in this one. I think in terms of the line isn't very pretty. It is USC are 39-point favorites, so what's that? About 6 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns. So not much expected there. The over/under is 61. So a lot of points are expected to be scored. Moving on, 8:30. Oh boy, you better watch.
This has got potential to be the best game of week 0.
You better watch what you say here as well. We got NC State, my NC State Wolfpack at Virginia. Was meant to be getting played in Brazil, but that got called off, so it's come back home, and it's going to be one here. But obviously, big year for Dave Doran and NC State. They're looking for that elusive 10-win year, and we've lost some big talent going into this season. Obviously, Hollywood.
The big household names have gone, haven't they?
Yeah, Hollywood Smothers gone to Texas, Terrell Anderson gone to USC, Jacarius Peak, our left tackle, gone to South Carolina. You've lost, but you've saved the big one. You do, if you have a quarterback, you got a chance. And CJ Bailey is under the gun this year. And Dave Doran, interesting fact, has never lost to Virginia. He's 4-0 against them in his time in Raleigh. So he just has Virginia's number. But, I mean, he is so good, CJ Bailey. His last 2 years, he throws 67% completion. He's got 5,500 yards and 42 touchdowns with just 19 picks. And bear in mind, he was a freshman in there. He's 6'6", 213 pounds. He's bulked up a little bit, and he is just such a good talent. And obviously, he's got the dual threat ability with him as well. You are always going to have a chance to win big when you've got a quarterback like this, right?
Yeah, and I hate to say this, but I'd savour every moment watching him this year. Because, I mean, even you'll probably admit this time next year, you're not going to expect to have him, are you? Not if he goes out there and puts another stellar year in.
No.
He will enter the portal. But no, yeah, this kid has got the frame, the build, the physical toughness, the deceptively good bottom half, slender. Like you say, he's very elusive in traffic, runs well, very talented. Like you say, the sky is the limit for this kid. Like you say, he's decided to stick around, shown some commitment where others have been lured away by dollar signs. Like you say, right now, like you say, be working with a different crew this year, but the coaching staff love him, and he's got a chance to, go out and really impress this year and prove that he can do it on multiple rosters with different looks. Yeah, he's definitely coming of age right now, I'd say.
He is, and it's all about the rushing game here for the Pack. We were 5-0 last year. We ran for 108 yards overall in a game. We're 8-2 when coming up with more than 60 rushing yards. So, we've got the passing attack. You just need to get up to that 100-yard mark, and you're in good hands. But as you mentioned, all top 5 pass catchers are gone. I didn't even mention Noah Rogers going to Alabama. So, I mean, that's your left tackle's gone to the SEC. Terrell Anderson's gone to USC. Noah Rogers has gone to Alabama. If anything, it shows how good this regime is at developing its talent, because they get absolutely rinsed every year. Obviously, Victor Snow comes in from Buffalo. Cannot wait to see him. I think he's going to be one of the he's going to be one of the ACC newcomers of the year this year. We've got Teddy Hoffman, Keenan Jackson. They had 53 grabs and 5 touchdowns last year. So you've potentially got there. We've got our entire right-hand side of the offensive line back, a new left tackle in from East Carolina. But again, we have the quarterback, Victor Snow, though. He's only 5'8", he's only 170, but you see what we've done with small guys like this, right? Casey Concepcion, has been an absolute stud. Again, we've just sent 2 players up to massive Power 4 programs. I think he's in the exact right position where he's just going to completely succeed.
Yeah, like I say, you've got the QB that can get in the ball. He's got years of experience under his belt now. A good coaching staff. Like I say, got a great all-line coach. Like I say, Coach 2J. Like I say, so you've got a very solid core that will help him work out there, and he's very experienced. He knows how to use his body and how to do a good job of playing against those bigger guys by now. He's a savvy guy, like you say. He knows what to do, not to do. He will cause a lot of headaches. And yeah, so many targets have disappeared. He knows it's a chance for him to, like you say, make one last big name for himself.
It is indeed. It's the defense that needs to get better. It was 111th last year. Just not going to happen whatsoever when you're doing that. We did get in, and we developed linebackers better than anyone. They got Raul Aguirre in from Miami. That's going to be a stud signing for them, but obviously just got to get a lot better through there. The offense isn't the problem; it's the defense that is going to be the one this year. But I'm overall, they always find a way to win, so I'm not going to go after them too much there, but we'll see. And as I say, we always have Virginia's number. And speaking of, I still don't think they've announced their starter yet for this season when it comes to quarterback, but you've got a fight on between Bo Pribula and Eli.
Pribula, they haven't named, but I think Pribula's leading the way.
So it's going to be Bo Pribula, and obviously they're coming off an 11-3 season. They were just pipped to the ACC championship last year. Obviously Tony Elliott has gotten better. He's 22-26 altogether, but it's a program that started off bad and then turned it around really well. They start off games really quickly, outscored their opponents in the first quarter 110-42 last year. Started off very good against us last year before eventually getting bogged down. But I mean, it was a good team last year. It kind of shocked a lot of people, right? But obviously quarterbacks change. Bo Pribula is still an unknown quantity for me. He's still not shown that he can be that guy, but if he works...
I mean, like I say, you've got two of the best QB battles in the ACC.
Yeah, and he's obviously from
Pitt,
so he knows the
ACC as well. Yeah, so I don't know what. Obviously, I've not seen practice, but I would lean probably towards being Holstein, my flag caller. But yeah, obviously they've seen better than them. But yeah, I mean, if one of them struggles, like I say, it's not exactly a bad situation to fall back on.
Yeah, and they've got, I think, pretty much the full offensive line returning, which is good for them. But they're another team. They lost their 3 best pass catchers. They've had to go to the portal. They bought Enrico Flores from UCLA, Deshaun Martin from Kent State, and Jaquan Gibson from UMass. But both teams really starting over at the position. But obviously, not having Chandler Morris is going to be big for them. But I think overall, it's always a good offense there in Virginia for the most part. But no Jamari Taylor this year. It's how do they replace him? And obviously no Harrison Whaley either. He ran for 600 yards and 6 touchdowns. They brought in Jakail Middlebrook, the Middle Tennessee running back, who is actually really good. But I mean, it's a lot to lose. Chandler Morris, Jamari Taylor, your top 3 pass catchers. Like this is one of those that could potentially take a bit of time to get going, but they do have the line.
Yeah, it's one of those as well, like, they don't have time as well. They're coming off an 11-3 where they were so close to a title game. It feels like they don't have that grace period. It's pretty much, we expect another double win-digit season. And to be in ACC contention, like I say, great coach, brought in 2 good quarterbacks to battle it out. Like I say, you have lost a lot. Like I say, Chandler Morris was an exceptional gunslinger. He was just, like I say, he had such a loose free arm, like I say, and you had explosive weapons that have gone now. So living up to that 11-3 highlight season is going to be very difficult. Even returning a great pair of QBs, weapons, and a good coaching staff, they set the bar very high last year. Even if overall the whole ACC standard might have come down this year, which hopefully works in their benefit, it will definitely be hard to live up to last season's heights.
Yeah, it is indeed. Defensively, they allowed 310 yards and 20 points per game last year, so not a bad defensive group, to be fair, when you're giving up less than 3 tutties per game. In terms of what people are saying about this, where are they? Where were we? NC State are not with underdogs by 5.5 points, which I think is a little unfair to us, but we're away on the road and we generally don't do as well there. But like you said, this could be the game of week one. Obviously it's an ACC game with big consequences early on. Two teams who, this is the kind of game they need to win to be in the upper echelon with Miami and Clemson and teams like that. These are the ones you can't afford to lose, because then you've got to go out and win some of the games against the big boys to catch up. And so a lot on the line here for both teams, right? Who do you see winning? And I won't be offended if you don't say us, but it'll affect my opinion of you a little bit.
I'd give it just to Virginia, but purely because they're at home and it's a very hard place to go. I know Doran's got the winning record and I know they'll play well, lost a lot, but I think the atmosphere, the fan base and that stadium behind them will probably gear them onto a victory. But it will definitely be close. I think this one will be a back and forth shootout kind of game, but I think Virginia's got enough to probably outlast them.
Yeah, indeed it does. I'm been a homer. I'm going for my NC State, so there we go. Next up, now, this could be this is the purists game this week. You like Russian football, you like trench warfare, you like slow, rugged, brutal attacks. We've got North Dakota State making their debut as an FBS team, coming up against Jacksonville State, and we know what both these teams like to do, Ryan. Jacksonville State love to run the football, dual threat quarterback who loves to run the football, and we know what North Dakota State like to do. They like to run the football. They like to assert their dominance through their offensive line, and they like to overpower you and overraw you, which is exactly the same thing Jacksonville State like to do. This could be the purists game of the week, where this is just a lot of fantastic trench warfare play, but in terms of the flair, it might not quite be there.
No, this could be one for the purists. Like I say, it's going to be one of those where it may not be flashy, but it's going to be downright physical. Trench warfare will be the order of the day. I like to say whichever O-line simply does a better job of creating holes, protecting their guy and making a running lanes will go a very long way to deciding the outcome of this one, because they both want to get it done on the ground. Two teams that, one, like to manage the clock. Like I say, time of possession is very big. Like I say, two, can Jacksonville State go to the Fargo Dome and win? Which for the last, 5-10 years, very few teams have gone to the Bison. It's a very small ground. It's a compact little indoor arena, so the conditions are always perfect for running the ball. Can they go there and silence the crowd, which is incredibly hard in the last 5 years? So this is going to be a fascinating matchup of two teams that want to win the same way.
And, just to sort of put in what North Dakota State is all about, first quarter scoring last year, NDSU 135, all their opponents combined 29. Rushing touchdowns, North Dakota State had 43, the opponents had 11. It's a very simple strategy for them, right? Get ahead early and then let the game fall to you. Let teams make mistakes against you, run that clock out, physically punish them. The first quarter is going to be massive for Jacksonville State here. They need to get it on the ground. They need to chew up that clock. They need to keep the North Dakota State offense off the field. And more importantly, they need to score some points early doors.
Yeah, if you fall behind quickly with a team that is, like say, stacks the box, because they will stack the box, they will ultimately look to take away the run game. The North Dakota State defense has been incredible against the run in recent years. They will then lead clock, like I say, and they will then turn up the pressure. So yeah, the team that falls behind quickly against a team that wants to run the ball, grind out every down, stay in clock, like say, will turn up the pressure, and ultimately, like say, the game could get away from you very quickly. It won't be a slow game. It will be done pretty quickly if these two teams have their way with it.
Yeah, and North Dakota State will want to run the football. New quarterback, no Bryce Lance, no Ra Jones. Top two receivers gone, quarterback gone. They're going to need to protect their new man under center, Nathan Hayes, and they're not going to want to put too much on him early. That's what Jacksonville State have got to do. They've got to get him throwing the football early to receivers that have not proved themselves just yet.
You look offense because Nathan Hayes has played very little football as a starter. He's got relief games, but he's not played much football in 2 years as a starter. So this is the first time since maybe like Cole Payton they've got an actual new starting quarterback.
And Cole Payton's been starter for some time now, hasn't he? So,
And like I say, Nathan Hayes ain't a rusher. And yeah, he's got very few carries under centre. Like I say, he wants to be a passer, and that kind of goes against their ethos.
it does.
So it's going to be very interesting to see because he's not, from what I remember, he's not the most mobile.
No.
And this is a team that likes to play with multiple like fullbacks and lead blockers. They want their QB to follow through holes. So can he do what they want him to do? I'm not sure. I feel like they will have to go with a different option if it don't work.
And it's a really intriguing matchup, this is, because you're against Caden Creel, who is a legitimate, rushing quarterback. He was getting better as a thrower this year. And his offensive coordinator this year, Taylor Housefry, used to be the Montana State head coach. He knows this Bison team and what they're all about. This is a guy who's come up against them before. With some of the most high-powered offenses in the FCS as much as them. So you've got a guy who knows what he's been to the Fargo Dome, he's played there, and he's got the best weapons possible. This is a fascinating matchup, isn't it? Like on both sides. A lot of people will just say North Dakota State will win, but Jacksonville State have the tools there to beat them.
Yeah, they have the blueprint now to beat them. They know what they need to do. They need to get a quarterback that's not a runner. They have to get in behind the pocket and apply pressure to him. They have to collapse the pocket and make him scramble. Where their QB, like I say, he doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be running. Like I say, if they can get him, flush him out and get him, like I say, lack of protection and trying to extend plays with his legs where he won't be overly comfortable, I don't think the NDSU QB, I think that's where they've got him. Like I say, good team. Caden Creel's very up and centre. Like I say, yeah, if you silence the crowd early and get on top early, I mean, teams that run the ball aren't built to come from behind. No. So if you're looking for a team on the road to cause an upset in week 0, the Gamecocks might be your best shout.
Yeah, and they're built physically. Like, you even look at the receiving group. They got DeAndre Johnson. He's 6'8" and 220 pounds. Like, good lord, this guy is an offensive lineman who's a receiver. Like, they'll block for days. They are probably one of the better equipped teams in the group of 5 level to be able to deal with them. And then this goes to their defense as well. They've got Brian Williams there as defensive coordinator. He was defensive coordinator at Maryland. A very good Power 4 coordinator who they somehow managed to snag to get down, to get them down there. But their defense is very good against the run. Obviously, they practice against it all the time. They get enough sacks and tackles for loss to matter, but it's all about their ability in the rushing defense and to be able to stop that. Excuse me. But they had a good rushing defense last year. It was better than their passing defense overall. But they've got quite a lot of that team back as well. Again, I'm absolutely fascinated by this matchup here between the two. Like, it's who do you think wins overall? Excuse me, down the wrong way. I think this is a very tough one to call. I
think I could give the edge to the Gamecocks. I think they've got a realistic chance of going there and causing an upset.
It's always hard to bet against NDSU at the Fargo Dome. But I look at it as the matchup, and you've got the more settled pieces on offense with the Gamecocks, and they are built to go there and win and provide a shock. And I really like Caden Creel. Like, he's enough of a passer to force them to have to respect it and not be able to commit against him on the run. So I think the Gamecocks might win in overtime. Sorry, Marmark. I think it's going to be very close. If North Dakota State absolutely flagellate them, I wouldn't be surprised either. But I'm just kind of going on my gut here that they're able to get it done. So, but yeah, one of the games to watch this week: North Dakota State at home to Jacksonville State. Moving into the early games, which are Sunday here, but Saturday there. We got a rematch from last year, and this is it, right? It's the do or die year. Can Timmy Chang and Hawaii get over the hump? They have to go over to Stanford. New head coach under Tavita Pritchard, who is obviously known very well at that program, but Hawaii able to beat Stanford last year. The walk-off field goal from Matt Sakawa, who's... I don't know where the hell he's gone. I don't know if he's in the NFL at the minute. But anywho, Stanford went up really early. I think they went up 10-0 in no time at all last year. Or it might have been 14. And Hawaii fought them back down and beat them. And it's Hawaii's road travels which have been their trouble. And Stanford are still a power team. Hawaii still a Mountain West team. But this is a game you would fancy them to want to win again if they're going to really show their credentials this year. They've got Mika Alijardo back, you've got Pafeli Ashlock, you've got that receiver core with you. The defense is slowly getting better, and this is now no longer the slam dunk win for a home team against Hawaii that people thought it would be. But it's a big test first up for them, but one that they can handle on the day.
Yeah, like I say, in recent years they've not travelled well. Like I say, they've not always prepared themselves well, or like I say, they've not had the best routine, and they get to game days and it would unravel quickly when they decided to leave the island. But I mean, Stanford's playing Davis Warren, so that's definitely a helper. He is a QB that we have seen when he has applied a little bit of pressure. He is prone to cracking and making large mistakes. Can Hawaii force him into some absolute terrible decisions? Yes, they can. Like I say, it's kind of the perfect decision. It's a terrible first game for Davis Warren to take a plucky underdog coming into your turf that can cause you problems in your final year of eligibility. Like I say, it's set up for a storyline where Hawaii can come in definitely and give him some serious headaches. And if he has not been able to work on the issues that have plagued him throughout his career, then it could be a long old day for the Stanford Cardinals.
Yeah, it could be. And just to kind of show you the history that Hawaii are dealing with, the last time they won a road win at a power conference program was 1992. They beat Oregon that year, so they beat a West Coast team, but it's certainly gonna be tough. But I mean,
if Hawaii lose, I'd find it hard to suddenly lose hope in them.
Oh no, it's like
perfect for them to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's non-con games don't matter at the end of the day. It's as long as you win your past ones. But I mean, they should be looking at this with open eyes. Stanford had the worst pass defense in the nation last year. They gave up 290 yards per game through the air, and they're coming up against Mika Alijardo, which is just in its in its own way. They should be able to really batter away, because Stanford aren't going to have fixed that secondary in one off season. There are going to be opportunities there. But I mean, for Stanford, Tavita Pritchard, they're going to want to win this one. They've lost 2 years in a row to Hawaii now, both on Big Island, but still, this is going to be the home one. If you want to show yourselves as, not a laughing stock anymore, you can't be losing to Hawaii at home. And Davis Warren, for all his shortcomings in that, he's a steady quarterback. He's a steady veteran who, if you're able to get a good team around him, can win you games. But it's just a case of, are they coming from so far behind that it's going to take time. Stanford are 4-point favourites for this one, but it just doesn't feel like that's the case, really.
No, it's very hard for me to, with any confidence, say Stanford are clear favourites, at home or not. Like I say, it's just a program right now that is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And until, like I say, it stops rolling out guys like Davis Warren, it's not gonna go anywhere.
No, it's hard to recruit because obviously you need people who can go to Stanford. So
I'd
you've
say the big
obviously
thing is
got a
that
lesser.
the coaching staff, like I said, I get what Andrew Luck wanted to do last year.
Yeah,
Bringing in, like you say, was it Frank Reich for that 1 year, a guy he knows well to try steady the ship. But yeah, when are the foundations going to start to be properly laid?
yeah,
Like I say, the hire is going to be very interesting. Like I say, to see if this is a new cornerstone of Stanford football, if he is indeed the man to make the big hires and get this football team where it wants to be, which used to be one of the best teams in the country and one of the most feared teams in the country.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. So who do you have winning? Um, I I'm saying my heart is with them. I have this horrible feeling they
Close, but I think another one, like say, where a 3 point win.
I have this horrible feeling they're going to lose, but I won't care if they do lose. It's all about It's all about the conference play for them. But I'm going to say that they can do it. I believe in them. We've believed in them for the last 4 years in that program, so we will see. Certainly not on a hot seat, but someone who is probably on the hottest seat of everybody this year, Mike Norvell and his Florida State Seminoles. They are playing in week 0. They are playing at home against New Mexico State, and I mean, this is a Florida State team which it's 7-18 in its last 25 games. It's been a very poor team, a team that never recovered from getting snubbed from the playoff a few years ago, and then that subsequent absolute mauling they took from Georgia in the Orange Bowl. And he's probably on one of the hottest seats in the country this year, Ryan. He is relying on a quarterback in Ashton Daniels, who comes over from Stanford, who, for been very kind to him, has not been the best quarterback in the world. Certainly not a quarterback that seems to befit the status of a team like the Seminoles. I mean, this one is really very simple in terms of the outcome of it. He's got to win big in this. There's no more excuses. There's no more tough wins here. If Seminoles fans start seeing them struggle against the New Mexico State team, who, for want of a better word, were absolute gash last year, even if they win, there's going to be pitchforks out for him early.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's very hard for them to come out of this game with much hope. Like you say, the only way they come out with this any redeeming is crushing them. If they lose, I fire him. If they don't win comfortably and it's scruffy and ugly, then he just lives to fight another week. But he's just getting close to being fired. Like I say, really, they have to go out there and you have to dust them. At home, Tallahassee, like you say, you can't have people of, like say, teams of that, no disrespect, of this caliber coming and causing you problem at homes. That's just unacceptable.
No, and your run game, you've got Quintravion Wisner in from Texas, you've got Usmani Cromar back as well. He went at 6 yards per carry. This is like, it doesn't matter about your quarterback here. This should be a rushing attack which should be able to beat through a Mountain West defensive line and kind of take all the burden off the quarterback.
Yeah, like you say, it's a team where you would really like to take some pressure off a guy like him. You've gone out there, you've got to the portal, you've brought in some guys that can bring a spark. You're hopefully going to bring some more balance to this offense. The last thing you want to do is, like say, make that man your saviour because you can't run the ball and put the world of pressure on him. So they really have to find, like I say, it's going to all start with the offensive line. Like I say, and the juice it gets together to spark something in the run game, hopefully.
Yeah, indeed.
Good. Like I said, the one big thing is you've got the huge outlet. You've got Deuce Robinson, one of the best ACC receivers. But do you have time to get him the ball?
Yeah, that's the thing, But again, that running attack should be more than enough to deal with a New Mexico State team who are just... It's going to be tough. Like, the offense was really good last year. I think they said statistically it was the best offense in the ACC, yardage-wise. But they still weren't able to get it done. The defense was just too unpredictable, which, given who they brought in, the former Nebraska DC, was surprising, but it is what it is. In terms of New Mexico State, actually there's another... We talked about FCS passers who were up earlier. New Mexico State have an FCS passer. Trey Hedden, the Furman quarterback, and that's going to be the problem for Florida State in this. New Mexico State are not going to run the football. They can't really run the football that well. You would not expect them to stress test that defensive line with their run game, but you've watched the Paladins. Trey Hedden, he's got a big arm to him, and that Florida State defensive back room, it wasn't the greatest last year. They lost all their games when quarterbacks threw more than 60% completion, which was quite a few of them. And that's going to be New Mexico State's route in this. They're not going to win the clock battle or anything. They're going to go out there and they're going to go big, and it's probably going to burn down in flames. But if those FSU DBs don't do their job, they could get bit a few times.
Yeah, like you say, New Mexico State will not win this game running the ball. They will have to go vertical to win this game. They will have to go splash plays. I mean, if FSU goes like man coverage and says we will go up against your best receivers, that might be the best thing that could happen to New Mexico State. Just if FSU put their guys on islands and you get those one-on-one matchups, that is probably, like you say, where you just air it out, attack. Yeah, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. If you turn the ball over a few times, so be it. You're going to have to attack them down the sidelines and across the middle if you want any hope of winning this game. So yeah, they're going to have to take some risks, New Mexico State. But yeah, we've seen an FSU defense that is susceptible. And yeah, if they do bust a few coverages, they could find themselves in some hot water.
Yeah, they could indeed. So I'm assuming no upsets here, we're thinking.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think it'd be necessarily pretty at times, but yes, the Seminole will win by hook or by crook.
There we go. James McClurg's in the chat. He goes, Hoosiers? We've got Hoosiers around. Hoosiers everywhere.
Thomas Castellanos has just committed to Texas Tech.
Oh boy, that's going to be fun. Okay, I'm assuming Will Hammond can't lose the battle to a new transfer to start the season, right? That would be pretty embarrassing for him.
Wouldn't surprise me if
he's got nine. He's got like 9 days to learn the offense. Like, that's gonna be tough. But it's his last year, I guess. So he's not gonna go somewhere he's not been promised football.
I expect he's probably been reading the playbook all week.
Yeah.
I think Will Hammond is in trouble.
Oh boy, that will be a fun one to keep an eye on. Got 2 more games here. We got Maction first week, and Sacramento State make their debut at the FBS level. They are heading to Ypsilanti to face the Crate Train in Eastern Michigan. Eastern Michigan, obviously down on their luck the last few years, but Chris Crichton has made it a much better program than it was, that wins a lot more games than it used to, and they're really good when it comes to week 0 or week 1. They've won 4 of their last 5 season openers. They just lost 1 to Texas State. Sacramento State obviously coming off a 7-5 season. And we're going to see how they adjust to traveling up into the MAC region again. It's a long travel time for them. Eastern Michigan with Noah Kim, it's a settled team. Obviously, there's always a lot of turnover there, but as I say, Creighton always has a decent program. It's a good first test for the Hornets, right, to see where they're going to fit in, because a lot of people have them finishing bottom, which is crazy in the MAC standings this year. The media poll, I think, had them bottom, even near the likes of UMass, etc. But Eastern Michigan's they're a really good barometer as to how you're going to do in a new conference, and it's tough to kind of predict how this one's going to go. Sac State love to throw the football. Noah Kim loves to throw the football. This could really come down to whose secondary is a little bit better on the day and who gets those more takeaways.
Like you say, EMU, not perennial contenders, like you say, fall short. But for Sac State, this is big because, it's the bar, it's the measuring stick of do you belong in the MAC? Can you compete with a team that is always around 500? Are you a 500 MAC team? Are you way off there? Or if you go out there and come in and spank them, do you have lost your aspirations? So yeah, like I say, Carson Conklin has got a great chance to go up against a team that he should like to think that he can have a reasonably good chance to put up some good numbers with.
Yeah.
So, for EMU, it's, well, you're entertaining the newcomers. it's a huge potential banana skin. And you've got to be very careful. Like you say, the media and like you say the conference have written off Sac State, but they can't afford to do that,
No.
especially at home. Like you say, on a cool evening, this is a team that is travelling across country from warm weather, coming to I always butcher this Ypsilanti.
Ypsilanti.
Ypsilanti, yeah. Like I say, that doesn't like the cold, doesn't like travelling. Like I say, is gonna they're going to do it a lot this year, so it may affect them. But yeah, you need to start and show them that they don't belong here. That's what you need to make that point out. Like you don't belong in the MAC, and we don't want you here.
Yeah.
And
You're
like
the,
that on the shoulder.
you're the new boys coming to our home. And I mean, the matchup's not the greatest in terms of. So, Eastern Michigan were the worst rushing defense in the nation last year. They gave up like 232 yards a game on the ground, but Sac State like to throw it, not to run it. So,
Can they
it's.
punish them? But can they capitalize on something that, like say, EMU aren't very good at?
Yeah. No. Not well. They can obviously they could run the ball really well, but it's not like their modus operandi. They love to throw the ball more in recent years. So Eastern Michigan, hopefully, if they can protect that vulnerable defensive line in the run game and get turnovers in the passing game, it'll be able to hide the deficiencies enough for them to win. I do have Eastern Michigan winning. I am a big fan of Chris Creighton and what he does there. And Noah Kim's a very good quarterback, so it should be a fascinating quarterback duel. Noah Kim versus Carson Conklin. Like, again, one of the better QB matchups this weekend. So, we'll see. But, yeah, I've got them winning. And then the last one. Now, this is really interesting. And, again, this could be another sleeper for one of the best games of the week. But we've got Memphis at UNLV. So, Memphis going through the Charles Huff revolution at the minute. He's made it known that he wants to make them into a power program. He turned Marshall into a force. He did one of the best rebuilding jobs in college football last year with Southern Miss. He likes to win. He knows how to win. And, his teams are incredibly tough to beat. They love to run the football. They love to have dominating trenches. They love to win the old-fashioned way. But you're going up against the UNLV team that has been great in recent years. It's just, if Boise State didn't exist, they'd be 3-time defending champions of the Mountain West. It's just they've kind of always been bullied that little bit more than they can hand out by the Broncos. But, Dan Mullen, they've got a very experienced head coach. They've got a very good quarterback situation. I believe Colin Dreher's... No, who... God damn it, who did they bring in?
Jackson Arnold.
Jackson Arnold's won it. I know there were two of them there, but Jackson Arnold's won the battle for that one. He's a good level commit for them, but I mean, this is a fascinating one. I mean, UNLV are obviously the more settled team. They're at home. That'll put them in the favourite situation for that, but Charles Huff is a fantastic college football coach, right? And he's shown an ability to turn teams around quickly. He's taken about 20 of his players from Southern Miss there. Memphis have the good nucleus of a team there. They didn't lose everybody to Arkansas when Ryan Silverfield left. They're not going to be easy to beat, and they're going to be in the American title hunt. So, two potential championship contenders, two potential group of 6 playoff representatives if Memphis can, settle down quick enough. I mean, this is a fascinating game.
Yeah, this is definitely this is a barometer for, let's say, the team that wants to make the playoffs from the G6. These are the two teams that could be potential front runners. So this one could have very big implications later on down the line that we're not aware of yet. But yeah, Charles Huff, great coach. He gets into teams straight away, settles down, he implements his plan, he builds a good roster. Like you say, gets the best out of people. You've got the top dog right now in the G6. I suppose if there was a pedestal, you'd probably have to put the Rebels on it because, like I said, they work the portal so well. They've got a potentially insanely talented QB that probably think he should be at a bigger school. But like I say, you've got Dan Mullen, one of the best veteran coaches in football. You've got a great home atmosphere at Allegiant Stadium, and you've got a chance to build something there. So yeah, Memphis have got everything to gain. UNLV have potentially got everything to lose. This is one of those where you can't take your eye off the prize. You've got to take 1 week. If they look past Memphis, just because they're at home and they've got these big players coming in, then it could be in for a rude awakening. So this has got potential to be fireworks all over it, I think.
And Memphis, of course, still not announced the starter for this year. This is probably the closest camp battle in the nation. Former massive prospect for Ohio State against, well, probably the best Division II quarterback in the country, I think it would be fair to say. Yeah, Air Nolan versus Marcus Stokes. They've still not announced a starter here. They're torn between the potential of Air Nolan, but also the
Division Two quarterback,
the playmaking talent, because Marcus Stokes is insanely talented, right? The Argonauts, as you say, they've just come up to the FCS this year. They're not a traditional Division Two team. They bring lots of players who get to the level here, and it seems like they're not sure yet. Because Air Noland obviously hasn't played a lot of football, but I think on paper he's probably got the higher ceiling. But Marcus Stokes has potentially the best ramifications for them early, so I mean, it's a hell of a good room to have, but the fact it's come down this late, it can be a good and a bad thing as well. Maybe we'll see them both, who knows?
It feels like we're going to see them both. It feels like clearly Charles Huff doesn't know yet. It's not games, because like you say, UNLV will prepare for both. They won't care who suits up snap one, it won't bother them. Like you say, they're probably expecting to see both. And for me, it's probably best at this point to just not name a starter. Just say, do you know what? They will both play. Like I say, when the final bell rings, like I say, I'll process it after it and I'll name a starter heading into week 1. That's probably the best way to do it right now. Like I say, you've seen everything you can in practice. You've not been able to decide, so it's time for real life snaps and see if one of them sinks or swims and which one crumbles or which one shines.
Yeah, it's such a tough decision to make. I mean, I feel like you've got to. I don't know. It's tough, isn't it? Like, you don't bring in Air Nolan to just sit down. Like, usually a team of Memphis...
There's a reason Air Nolan hasn't played anywhere.
Yeah.
And that worries me.
But a team of Memphis' caliber doesn't get prospects like Air Nolan very often. But Marcus Stokes is amazing, right? And it's like, Trinidad Shambliss, it can be done. It's obviously it doesn't happen all the time, but these guys who are dying...
It's not crazy for a D2 QB to come up to the Division 1 in the right team with the right weapons and the right coach. And the notes of Shambliss were the way he had poise, the way he had commanded his offensive line. Nothing flustered him. He just looked like he belonged there. Can a guy like Marcus Stokes also do that as well?
Yeah, it's going to be tough, and again, probably Jackson Arnold versus Air Noland as a group of 5 thing a few years ago would have been unfathomable, but it could be fun. But it could come down to the run game. Jaden Thomas on one side, and then obviously Charles Huff always has a great running back up his sleeve wherever he's at. So
I feel like ultimately the run game is probably what gives the advantage.
Yeah,
Jaden Thomas, one of the potential stars, one of the best running backs in the country.
Yeah. But Memphis always generally field a good defensive line as well, so there's so many different storylines this one could take. It's very, very tough to make a prediction at the minute, but you do feel like UNLV are just that slight more settled right now, doesn't it? I think
it feels like they've got guys there that can take pressure off the QB straight away.
Yeah,
but it's hard to take pressure off a quarterback when you're probably going to play both.
Yeah.
It throws you out of rhythm if
Yeah.
you're going to change QB.
Yeah, it just feels like the more settled nature of UNLV is probably going to lead them to it. But I don't expect it to be big. I don't expect a blowout in this game either way. I expect it to be very close, at least until late on. But we will see with that. So, who do you have winning?
UNLV. Purely because I just think, like you said, they will be able to take the pressure and manage the clock with the run game.
Yeah, I think just about I will say that as well. Right, and that is your slate for the FBS for the first week. There is FCS football going on as well. But as I say, we're going to have Zach with us next week to chat all things FCS. So we'll be able to get a little bit more of an inside track on there, but I think there's pretty much a full slate of FCS football this week. So.
Yeah, they always start, like I said, their season always starts a little bit earlier.
Yeah, gonna be interesting. Some good ones. Villanova and William and Mary face off. Alabama and New Hampshire face off.
QB controversy. So seeing what they do this weekend will be fascinating.
Who's that? Sorry.
Villanova, weren't they? They're not allowed.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's been any resolution to that either, has there?
No, but they said in the ramifications he would be punished if he played. So
We'll have to see if
do it.
they do that. We got Holy Cross and Lehigh playing against one another. That's a playoff game from last year, is it not? Or
Lehigh were one of the best teams in the country last year. Yeah,
or
they
did
had one of the best defenses in all of football.
Yeah, so there's plenty to look out for, and also big
It
shout
is a Patriot League rematch. Yeah, I believe so.
yeah, also big shout out to our good friend Coach Gerald Huggins and him and his Morgan State Bears start off on the road against North Carolina A&T this weekend. That's a fun one.
Who did they play week two? They open Arizona State season, I believe.
They do, yeah. That's going to be fun because Dave and Gerald. Dave's the NCA&T fan, and Gerald obviously working at Morgan State. So those two are going to trade the barbs with one another for absolute damn sure. So yeah, we'll probably take a little look, and there'll be a lot to talk about. So if we get Zach on, he'll be able to give us some early thoughts about what he's seen there so far, and we'll see who's going to fill that void left by North Dakota State leaving. Where were we? If there are any other questions people want to ask us before we get out of here, just let us know. Ken goes, UNLV, don't they share the Raiders stadium? Yep, they play at the Allegiant, so they don't have their own. I don't know if they're building their own. I think they just use it because it's more.
I mean, you don't need to.
No, I mean, the only thing is,
facilities in the country.
it doesn't make for a good atmosphere because the Raiders don't have that many, the Rebels don't have that many fans. They weren't a good team until that long ago, so no.
Some of their games last year looked the camera doesn't pan to the crowd very often, let's put it that way.
No, you've got to kind of like do the WWE thing where you put all the fans in one area of the stadium and make it look really full. But obviously you can't get away with that in college ball because you need lots of different angles. So it is what it is. Ken goes, hi all, the cost of college football just keeps going up. Which college gets the first $1 billion stadium? I mean, that just feels like someone like Texas, doesn't it? Like, I know he goes probably in Texas. It'll be in Texas somewhere if they do.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I that's where the money is. Texas is where the money is. It's gonna be a big one.
Florida.
Or Florida, yeah, potentially some money down there.
Yeah, South Florida's new stadium is roughly 360 million.
So
athletic. That's for an American conference team.
Yeah. Ken goes, is UNLV the only college sharing a pro stadium? I think now USF have their own, because USF used to use the Hard Rock, didn't they?
USF currently have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Stadium, but next year.
Oh, they're using Raymond James.
I think they've used Raymond James the last few years. I think they used the Buccaneers.
I thought. Hang on, let me have a look. USF football.
I think South Florida is where Tampa Bay is.
It's in. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, USF use the Raymond James currently.
But next year they will leave for their brand new $400 million state of the art. It's going to be one of the best stadiums probably in the whole country. It'll be finished, I believe, in 2027.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is only two teams, that share an NFL stadium.
Yes.
The Fargo Dome is used for professional football. I think it is. I think there's a professional football team that play at NDSU. But it's the league.
So some teams do have agreements to play at NFL, like Colorado State use Mile High occasionally. I think they've played Colorado State, Colorado at Mile High before, the rivalry game. Who else? Yeah, some teams do have agreements to play. Like they'll play some neutral venue games at them. But yeah, USF and UNLV are the only two currently. But as Ryan says, USF getting a brand new stadium. It looks amazing, to be fair. So that's going to be big for them. They'll be their own power program soon, so they're going to need their own one. I think it's just a matter of time before they join the Power Four. How big is it? Have they said how big it is?
I think it's very large.
35,000 seat capacity.
Yeah, that's perfect what they need next. That Raymond James won't be much bigger. Tampa Stadium's not very big, is it?
No, it's not. So 35,000's enough. I know some of the bigger Florida teams put them up, but I don't think they're ever going to pull in those fans, are they? Unless they come up to the power level. So But yeah, that was fun. But yeah, I'd say apart from that, there's just the odd games that will be played at NFL stadiums, but there's nothing. It's mainly when teams are moving stadiums and they need somewhere to live for a little bit where they'll use those. Every now and then a pro team shares a college stadium as building progresses. Who knows what could happen with Chicago? Put the Bears in Northwestern
No, I'm going to
Stadium.
assume they will go to Illinois. I think they'll share with the Fighting Illini or Northwestern.
I was about to say, because Northwestern have got the brand new stadium, right?
I think the Bears, will, for a year, will have to play at Northwestern or at Illinois. Yeah, they won't have a choice. They'll have to move.
They've got that there. So Northwestern's new stadium is built, right? It is built.
Yes,
It is
they've
built
left
and they're
that
playing
little
in there.
bit next to the sea.
Yeah, that's new. The Aloha Stadium's been built now, I think. So Hawaii have got their new home. So yeah, there's quite a few teams who are going through that transition at the moment. So it would be fun to see Chicago at Northwestern, though. I think that would work better, and I think that's closer to where I could be wrong. Could be closer to where their new site is, so it might help them. But well, I don't know. We will see. Marmarker goes, enjoy listening even when lots of names, just never been good with proper nouns. Yeah, there's always lots of names on those things. What?
What did you share with the Colts?
Oh, yeah, that would be odd. Not many teams share the actual stadium between themselves, do they?
It's NFL facilities, like you say, I wondered if they could have an agreement with them.
Potentially.
Not sure how far Indianapolis actually is from their
See,
new site again.
yeah. So does Soldier Field come down in the near future? You would assume so. That's like prime real estate in the middle of Chicago, isn't it?
Yes, I'd imagine they'll
There's
sell
no
that.
way. Yeah, there's no way that's like prime real estate. There's no way, and there's no team to move into it, is there? So
No, there's nothing to fill it with.
So
Chicago's already got a team in all major sports, so
I was about to say there's no college team that could benefit from it, is there? The Illini don't pull in that many fans. Northwestern just got a new stadium.
It's not very good, is it?
No, and the weather conditions are really bad as well. So yeah, I think it'll come down. Like the real estate's way too valuable there for them to leave it up and standing. And I don't think any of their other sports. Did I see something about maybe the baseball team wanted to have a look at it potentially to move possibly, but yeah.
That Chicago's the Cubs, isn't it?
Yeah, the Cubs. I think they maybe had a look at it, but oh yeah, 4 teams share NFL stadiums: the New York teams and the LA teams. Why can't the Chargers get their own stadium, man? Like just
Because collectively between them, they don't have enough fans either of them to have their own stadium.
did anything come? Because I know UCLA were talking about moving from the Rose Bowl, weren't they, and using SoFi? Were they talking about using SoFi? I think, or they were talking about using somewhere, weren't they?
So far while moved, yeah, because it's like I said, because the Rose Bowl currently so far away from campus, yeah, fans can't get to the Rose Bowl.
I'm pretty sure they were trying to talk about using SoFi, weren't they? But
because I think it's like a 45-minute drive or something stupid. It's something like 20 miles from UCLA campus to the Rose Bowl. So people just can't get there because it's too far, too expensive.
Yeah.
They must play on the road every week. They have to travel for hours.
Yeah. There's a few that have really big distances. So it's 27 miles.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, that's basically me to you. You're in Bradford. That's probably the best part of me to you. I can't imagine doing that.
30 miles, I can get through Sheffield.
Yeah.
Like, so we're in completely different counties.
Yeah.
He's in South Yorkshire. Yeah, it's in North Derbyshire. Like I say, I'm in West Yorkshire.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you had to travel all that way to watch Chesterfield?
No, can't imagine at all. I could not imagine at all. That's just be absolutely crazy. Where are we? There's some other pretty big ones as well. Especially again when teams are moving like this. But yeah, that's just not good for them. But I unless that's fallen through, because 3 teams playing at SoFi at the same time, it'd be tough. Games every week and then games on Saturday for college.
No way you could work that out, could on a Saturday and a Sunday. You could. How would you turn around? You'd have to repaint the end zones.
Yeah.
Markings and all that. You couldn't turn the field around. You think that quickly.
Yeah. Isn't Miami's quite far from its Miami's quite far away from its stadium, isn't it?
Yes.
The Hard Rock's miles off their campus. I
Yeah.
think that's like 17, 18 miles, something like that. I know that's far away. I'm just trying to think anyone else. I think Miami and UCLA are the two big ones. I'm surprised Miami don't get one closer to campus. They probably will. They might be the first $1 billion
They've got the
stadium.
money, surely, think, to have their own stadium.
They could be the first $1 billion stadium. The way they're spending money, that we talk about the Florida teams. They could be the ones who
Real
make the
estate down
jump.
there, the land will be so expensive down in say Miami.
Oh, they'll sell the Hard Rock for a good amount if they own it. I would assume they own it, but I don't know. Could be a weird one, but yeah, well. That is why Detroit was playing in the Pontiac. I hated it, other than the Silverdome was noisy as heck. All those fans running place blue. Yeah, not good when you've got to share. Minnesota used to share the Vikings Dome. That makes sense. I don't rate much to Minnesota's stadium. Their current Big Ten one. They could do with a new one.
Looks good. I like the shape, I like the look, but
Yeah.
seen online, like people do like the VIP experience.
Yeah.
The buffet, like the $1,000 ticket.
Yeah. Oh God, could never imagine spending $1,000 on something like that. It is crazy. Right. Is there anything else you want to mention today before we get out of here? Oh, I will say one thing. The best uniforms of the year have dropped. The B-21s from Air Force.
Oh,
How sick do they look?
the half black, half grey helmet just caps it off very nicely. Yeah, very stealth bomber.
If you've not seen them, the B-21s are just those helmets are filthy. They're like kind of the dark black. They've got little smatterings of like coal grey on them, don't they? But then they've got that really nice silver lettering on the black backdrop. Like that could be one to beat this year. Again, we talk about this there's been some bangers, haven't they? Did you see the Citadel ones I posted as well?
Yeah, the white and blue.
The Citadel white and blue one. That reminds me of UNC. Well, when UNC went through that really good period like 2 or 3 years ago, where they just put out some. They put out some ultimate bangers, and it felt like every week they had a great one. But those Citadel unis are nice as well. But no, the B-21s for Air Force are stunning, absolutely stunning. I hope they break them out for some of the Commander-in-Chief games this year. Army and Navy have got work on their hands now to beat that one in terms of Air Force have been behind the game in recent years, but they've really notched it up this time. Ken goes, I saw Kiss in concert at the Silver Dome. It echoed bad in there. I know people people used to love the Silver Dome. I think they still do. People don't like Ford Field as much, I think, as the Silver Dome, but it does really feel like the Lions could do with a new stadium.
Yeah.
Like,
they've shoestring themselves, aren't they? 'Cause like I say, where it is and how it is, it's impossible to expand.
yeah, unless you're going directly upwards, which is like
No physical capacity is there to upgrade at Detroit.
unless you want like a Colosseum style experience like in Spain, where you've got to basically climb up the stairs in some of that. Like, how more people don't die in those things, especially when they've been drinking, I don't know, because it is literally like scrambling up the side of a cliff. But that's the only way you could do it.
If you got more seats, they wouldn't have to charge the sixth highest ticket prices
Oh
per
Lord,
seat.
it's expensive. It's expensive.
Yeah, it's now on average, what was it, $412?
Yeah.
Something like that. Average now home resale ticket price for any home game.
Put it this way, that buys a season ticket for me and Ryan for our respective football teams for the entire year. That buys probably 2 for Ryan with the prices they charge. You could probably watch Bradford for 2 years.
I pay like £300 now, so yeah, I'd have.
Oh, it's gone up.
I'd have season ticket and change.
Yeah, I'd have a season ticket and a lot of change. That's for 23 games. I could probably pay for most of the cup games as well. So I could probably get 30 games for the price of one NFL game, which is nuts. But I guess, it is what it is. You do it for the experience, and it only happens 16 times a year. And then you've got to pay more for the playoffs, which is nuts. Like, even higher for the playoffs. Like, that's just for...
I like their season ticket renewal, and they get that invoice for the playoff game. And I just see like casual, like, oh yeah, outstanding balance, like say $3,500 the season. I'm just like
that's
wow.
several months' wages for me. absolutely nuts. Dear. Right, so again, I think that is a little bit about it for today. So, again, we've gone through week 0. Football starts tomorrow. The FCS starts in earnest. And yeah, I'm just glad to have it back. It's going to be good fun. We're going to roll out the Pick Watch again this year. So we're going to be doing the college football Pick Watch. If you want involved in it, join our Discord. We pick 10 games a week and try and predict the winners of them. I am a 4-year reigning wooden spoon champion, proving the more you know, the less you know. Eventually one of us has got to win it, so, you know, we will try our best with that. As mentioned, next week, we've got our big guest. We've got Zach McKinnell coming on. You'll have seen him. He represented the Miami fandom for us during the draft. He is an FCS hot pot of information, so we're going to be able to do a proper FCS preview for you, and, you know, point you in the direction of all the good players in the FCS this year and whatnot, as well as Rye, who knows all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to leave them two to chat with one another and just, you know, leave and drink it all in. And then obviously, yeah, we'll get to chat about some football, what's gone on, highlight some players who've done really well, which is going to be good stuff. And then we're into the full season. So, yeah, there is a lot to like on that point. In terms of shows coming up, tomorrow we are doing a preview show for the Colts preseason game. We've got Ryan from Indianapolis Colts UK joining us. If you watch the draft streams, you'll have seen him. He's been on with us for like the last 4 years. So, he knows all stuff Colts. And we're going to reveal our 53-man roster predictions as well. So that one is happening tomorrow. Saturday, we'll be doing the live stream, I believe, for the Indianapolis Colts game. Matt is still down ill, so you might have to deal with me for that one with Ash. But they should be live for that. And then on Sunday, it's roster cut-down day. So we'll be live reacting to roster cut-downs and everything that goes on. So you're going to see us pretty much every day for the rest of the week. So if you like us, you got a lot incoming there. Yeah, I think that is just about everything for this week. So thank you, Rye, as always. Appreciate you. Appreciate everyone who's been in the chat. Ken Stouder, Lisa's been in there, Mile Marker's in there. What time tomorrow? Usual time, 7:30, so 2:30 your time. Like it's like another Monday show. Because we're going to be doing previews most of the times now. So we'll go back to preview shows on Thursdays at 2:30 your time, 7:30 our time. But we'll be going for a while because we've got roster stuff to do as well. But yeah, appreciate everyone who has dropped in this evening. Yeah, have a great day. We shall see you again very soon. Thank you very much, Rye. One Pride Worldwide. Enjoy college football this weekend. I know I am. We shall see.